What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Run the North podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube right now, you are seeing something that not only will you probably never see again, but you have never seen, and I probably never would have expected. I am the only one here. Usually, Geek and Miller will get on here, and one of them will be like, "What's up?" and welcome to the Run on the podcast. Blah, 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 blah. And they'll be like, "Jake's not here. Jake's busy." Well, who's busy now, huh? Who's busy now? Yeah, that's what I thought. We're back, baby. Sorry, I just had to get that out. It's been a long couple of weeks, but obviously this isn't even a bit. This isn't even like a bit where I'm here and like Miller and Geek pop in like 10 minutes and they're like, just kidding, we're actually here. No, this is not a bit. I'm legitimately running a solo this week, so this will probably be our least viewed episode ever because I have no idea what I'm talking about or what I'm doing. Part of the show is going to be me answering some questions from Twitter. I just put the tweet out a little while ago, so that'll be at the end of the show so I can collect as many questions as possible, but I'll answer whatever ones are there. Don't expect this to be the longest episode. Expect it to be the absolute shortest we've ever had, but I really hope that I can provide some good content for you guys solo. We are going to start off the show today with me talking about a little bit about preseason week one, and not only preseason week one, but some of the notable performances in my eyes, especially from rookies. So, looking at our first rookie, as much as I hate to do this without Miller, and they might have already done this, but I want to talk about it. I don't think actually they did. When was this game? It was August 10th. Yeah, they have not had an episode since then. So, I'm talking about preseason. Perfect. I can talk about preseason week one all I want without having to repeat what Miller and Geek have already said in the prior episode. So, Caleb Williams is the first guy that I want to talk about because, as unfortunate as it is to say, he's very good. Miller, Nicole, Jarrett, Grayson, all the Bears fans who listen to the show, he's good. He's very, very good. And not that this was like unexpected. Like, I understand that there are people who have been like, dude, I hope Caleb Williams is like the biggest bust in the world, like because he does what he wants and he's like secure his masculinity and everything, and people are like, "Grr, that makes me angry." Wah wah wah. Right. So Caleb Williams, behind all of the deeper rooted like judgments about him that people make, we all knew he was going to be a really, really good football player, right? And he's a really good person. I mean, he has an electric personality. I was on the record at one point saying I didn't really like his personality, but the more I've watched Hard Knocks and the more I've watched just like videos on social media of him, I'm starting to like his personality. I think he's awesome for what he does on and off the field. But just to say that, I hate saying that about a Bears quarterback. I genuinely despise the words that are coming out of my mouth right now, but they have to be said because he is really, really good. He had a beautiful throw to Komet on the sideline. He was making magic all over the place. Had a nice little shovel pass to get out of a sticky situation in the pocket to DeAndre Swift. Overall, he just had a really, really good debut in the NFL. Obviously, the Bears won 33-6. He threw only 7 passes, but he threw for 95 yards. Overall, like the Bears looked good. They're pretty deep, it seems. Receiver wise, Ian Wheeler was their leading receiver in this game. He had 2 touchdowns, he had 5 catches, 43 yards. Velus Jones proved that he can be at least a football player who plays football and plays it a little bit good. Obviously, so Ian Wheeler's not a receiver. He's a running back. My bad. Ian Wheeler had 5 carries, 43 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and obviously Velus Jones got like 6 carries. So obviously they're looking to use him in a bit different of a role. Waldron, I think, is going to be okay. I mean, that's the discussion around the Bears a lot this year is Waldron and whether or not he'll be good. I've been seeing a lot of people on Twitter talking about Waldron and kind of the mixed reviews on him. I know Seahawks fans, some of them I saw on Twitter really didn't like him last year and were like, oh, he's gone. Fantastic. I don't know. I think he's going to be okay. Running a lot of 21 personnel in Chicago, which obviously Miller Football, host of the show, he's going to love because Kari Blasingame was on the field a lot. And Kari Blasingame, gotta love him, right? Future guest of the Run With podcast, Kari Blasingame. And then receiving wise, DeAndre Swift led the team, but Dante Pettis and Tommy Sweeney both had racked up some yards, and DJ Moore and Cole Kmet were obviously there. But really, they didn't really play many of their starters on offense. Austin Booker is fantastic. Talking about notable performances, for rookies and just players in general. Austin Booker, 2.5 sacks in his NFL debut. Listen, me and Miller have been on this guy since before the draft. Second I watched Austin Booker during my edge scouting. The second I watched him, I knew it. And then Miller, I hadn't even talked about him on Twitter yet. And then Miller comes out and he's like, I love this Austin Booker guy. I put him onto him. We've been talking about Austin Booker ever since. Lit it up. He's a great pairing with Montez Sweat. That's going to be a killer edge duo. I'm telling you that right now for a fact. That's going to be a killer edge duo in Chicago. I hate talking so positively about the Bears, but they're a good football team, and Austin Booker is one of my guys. So whether or not he's on the Bears or he's on whatever team he's on, I'm going to be rooting for him. Austin Booker could have been a Packer. That would have been nice. Him and Gary would have been fantastic. He's already better than Lucas Van Ness from what I'm seeing. I hate to say that. I love Lucas Van Ness. He'll be fine. But for now, I think he's better than Lucas Van Ness, and so obviously would have loved to have him in Green Bay. I even tweeted the day of the draft. I think it was the second round. Like today's the day. Austin Booker becomes a Packer, and then the Bears drafted him, and of course Miller had a field day with that. But that is kind of the notable Chicago performances. Just kind of getting off on that tangent, starting with Caleb Williams, and then of course I don't want to talk about him too much because some very unfortunate news has come out about his injury. But JJ McCarthy looked decent in his debut with the Vikings. Obviously, we're not going to see him again until next season. Super unfortunate. Suffering a torn meniscus, won't be able to play in the preseason or the regular season again this year. So we're not really going to see much more of JJ McCarthy until next year. But I think this is overall a good thing for him, right? Obviously, it sucks that he's injured, but I think this will ultimately benefit him, right? It's going to suck to sit on the sideline. It's going to suck to be hurt and have to rehab and everything. That is a terrible thing that happened, but he gets to sit for a year now, learn the offense. He's only 21 years old. He's young. He will come back and he will be fantastic. I believe that. He was good in his debut, right? And he had a great couple of great throws. Obviously, he threw a pick and wasn't perfect, but I think that he's definitely going to be a solid starter in the NFL if he gets the right foundation under him, which I think sitting for a year will help him do, right? Sam Darnold is not the worst quarterback in the NFL by any means. He is much better than what they were putting out last year when Cousins was hurt. If he goes down, it's game over. But Sam Darnold, obviously, if he is healthy, we saw what he could do a little bit in Carolina, right? When Carolina had him and he had that 6-game stretch at the end of the season where they went on a winning streak and he just was throwing the lights out. He was genuinely playing some pretty decent football. And there were even Panthers fans at the end of that were like, let's just keep Sam Darnold. And obviously they didn't. They have Bryce Young now, who I still believe in. But I don't know. It's tough because Darnold is not going to be a 4,000-yard passer. Maybe he could be with the weapons. He has great weapons. Obviously, Addison is hurt, but KOC doesn't seem to think that's anything serious. And so I'm inclined to believe the coach on that one. He has great weapons. We've seen him be able to spin the ball. We've seen him make some decent throws. Shanahan really liked him when he was in San Francisco. Obviously, he only played one game, and it wasn't fantastic, but it was a meaningless game, and we saw what he could do in Carolina when he was given the opportunity to kind of be the number one guy. And so I don't think that Sam Darnold, we should be ruling out the Vikings just because he's going to be their starter. Justin Jefferson is still the best receiver in the league. TJ Hawkinson is still a top 10 tight end in the league, maybe even top 5, depending on where you put tight ends. I know tight ends are a tough position to rank at the current moment, and I can honestly see you putting him in the top 5. They're the best wide receiver one in the division, the best tight end one in the division. Obviously, the defenses could be shaky, but it's Brian Flores, right? Ivan Pace is fantastic. They have a good secondary. Obviously, trading it around away Andrew Booth, who hasn't been great for them. They did that, and then also, I think Mekhi Blackman. I'm not going to say it for sure, but I'm pretty sure Mekhi Blackman tore his ACL, didn't he? Yes, Mekhi Blackman tore his ACL in the first part of the training camp, and again, that sucks to say. They're already getting bitten by the injury bug, and so that's why people are lower on them. Listen, I don't want to definitively say that they are the worst team in the division because I don't think they are, right? I mean, it's tough because Aaron Jones still exists, right? And not to go on an Aaron Jones tangent, maybe I will, but Aaron Jones is still that guy. He's not healthy a lot, and that's kind of the knock that people give him is because he's not healthy, he's not a good player. He's a fantastic player. I want him to be a Packer still. Josh Jacobs is a decent replacement, but he's not Aaron Jones. I think Aaron Jones is definitively, in my opinion, a better running back than Josh Jacobs. I think he's the best starting running back in the division if he's healthy. You can say Gibbs, but I say yeah, right to that. I don't think it's Gibbs quite yet. Maybe it will be after this season. But Aaron Jones, I think, best running back in the division. If he's healthy, they don't even have to throw it like 30 times a game with Sam Darnold. They can just give Aaron Jones those carries. He averages like 5 yards a carry. He never goes down on the first hit. Like, if that offensive line could be salvageable and they can just let Aaron Jones run through Aaron Jones, I think they could still be decent. I think they could win like 9-10 games still. KOC is a fantastic coach. Brian Flores is a great defensive coordinator. He will make it work without Mekhi Blackman and with a little bit of a beaten up defense. KOC will make it work with Sam Darnold. He is a quarterback guy first and foremost. That's what he has done. Right? He's a great head coach, but he's a quarterback guy. That's what he does. He had Kirk playing at an MVP type level last season before he got hurt and he tore his Achilles, right? He had him playing at a MVP type level, which is a level of Kirk that we had not seen up until that point, up until he got into KOC's system, right? Some of the best years of his career have come with KOC. Obviously, now he's in Atlanta. We'll see how he does there. But overall, I think you contribute a lot of that to KOC, and so I'm excited for what the Vikings can do. Still, obviously, it sucks not having JJ, but I think Sam Darnold would have started anyway, and so maybe this isn't any different than it would have been had he been healthy. Obviously, he would have had the opportunity, right, to start JJ at any point and to bench Darnold. But now Darnold's kind of unbenchable because they know they don't want Nick Mullins throwing the football for them. They know they don't want. I think Jaren Hall's still there. Yeah, Jaren Hall's got to be there. He just got drafted last year. But that's JJ McCarthy. Talking a little bit more about his performance. I think he was good. He was. I heard this said on another podcast. I tend to agree. His tape in his first preseason game just looked a lot like his Michigan tape. Not a bad thing, right? He was good at Michigan. Not a bad thing at all. National champion with Michigan, right? Will it be as effective and productive in the NFL? That I don't know. And that I'm not going to say definitively yes or no to. But I think he had an acceptable debut, especially compared to some of the other guys in this class. So speaking of some of the other guys in this class, obviously Michael Penix started to play a little bit. He, in my opinion, had a pretty rough showing, right? He just throws missiles all the time. He just rips it as hard as he can. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Obviously, he went 9 for 16. He had 104 yards, no tutties. The Falcons lose 20-13 to the Dolphins. It's just so tough because, like, Penix, this is a terrible pick, right? And we've talked about this 1,000 times on this show, on Twitter, on everything. It's bad process by the Falcons, right? The dude is 24, I think. He'll be 26 before he sees the field, in my opinion. I mean, Kirk Cousins, as long as he is healthy, will not lose the spot to Michael Penix Jr., right? Penix can rip the ball. He's got a strong arm. He can throw it at high velocity. He can throw the deep ball pretty well. And obviously, he had a guy like Roma Dunze to do that too, right? And so that kind of made him comfortable to do that in Washington. Who knows if he'll ever have a guy who will provide him with that opportunity, other than maybe Drake London on the Falcons. But Penix, I don't know. It's tough. He had a couple of really kind of off throws. He threw a fade ball, just basically just tossed it into the stands. Had a couple nice throws, though. I saw some pretty good ones. I don't think he's very good, but the consensus is that he's just kind of average, right? He did not play like a quarterback that should have gone 8th overall in the NFL draft. I'll say that. You know, nobody thought that he should have gone 8th overall, right? There's not many people who were there like Penix was like the best pick of the first round, right? Or like he was a fantastic pick, right? Obviously, the Falcons just traded for Judon, 32, coming off an Achilles injury. I still love Matthew Judon. I think he's going to have a great season. I think that front seven is still going to be pretty good. I think that's a good front seven. Grady Jarrett has some help now. Love it. But imagine if they had taken Laiatu Latu or Jared Verse or Chop Robinson or one of those just upper echelon edge rushers in the draft, right? If they had just taken one of those guys at 8, I mean, imagine he was right there. If Laiatu Latu was a Falcon right now, it would be him and Matthew Judon on either side of Grady Jarrett on that pass rush, and you would be so okay with that, right? But still, Judon's a good move, but just I can't get behind the Penix pick. He did not look great in his debut. Bo Nix, Sean Payton's new quarterback one. It seems like he's going to be the guy. I think Sean Payton likes him a lot. Bo Nix, 50 for 21, great completion numbers, 125 yards. That's the thing, right? 125 yards on 15 completions, 21 attempts for 1 touchdown. Like Zach Wilson had 5 less completions and 8 less yards, right? Yards per attempt was not good for Bo Nix. He wasn't really doing much. He was letting himself get sacked. He was taking some terrible sacks. He was running around. He had wide open routes that he decided to pass up on and just book it out of there and try and run. He was running straight into defensive tackles. He was doing all of this stuff that you expect out of a rookie quarterback, but not a rookie quarterback that needs to start day one. Like Caleb Williams, I know that we all know that Caleb Williams is better, but the difference between Caleb Williams and Bo Nix was evident in their first games because Caleb Williams, when he faced pressure, he was able to just effortlessly, like that, move to, especially in the throw to Kmet, use that as an example, move to his right, keep the play alive, pump fake, doing like the Rodgers Mahomes pump fake thing where he's just kind of keeping the play alive, and then he just flips it effortlessly down the sideline to Cole Kmet. That is something that Bo Nix, when he had the situation and when there were people coming at him, he didn't try and get out of the pocket. He just sprinted straight at the two biggest guys on the defensive line on the interior, right? And that's never going to work for you. So if he's doing that in regular season where there's actual starters playing in that DT position, he's going to die, right? And so I think Sean Payton likes him, and I think Sean Payton is very clearly going to start him. I would not rule out a Zach Wilson appearance at some point this season. I would almost guarantee a Zach Wilson appearance, not by injury, just by being put in the game when Bo Nix stinks. But I think Bo Nix is going to be okay. I think he's probably going to have a few rough games, a few rookie NFL quarterback games, but overall, I think he is going to be okay. I'm not out on Bo Nix. I think he, again, 15 for 21, that's good completion numbers. I think he looked pretty sharp when he was on target. I think he had some really, really decent throws. The Broncos, Marvin Mims, I think Marvin Mims is going to be okay. Tim Patrick, they have Josh Reynolds now, Cortland Sutton. It's not the worst receiving core in the world for Bo Nix, but situation could be a lot better. I think the Broncos will be mid-tier. But that was Bo Nix. And then, of course, there is another rookie quarterback who played just a little bit. Let's break down Drake May's. Let's break down Drake May's 2 throws. Okay, 2 for 3, 19 yards. They just didn't let him do anything. He didn't have any rushing either. Joe Milton was like the big quarterback. Him and Zappy were the 2 guys who really actually played. And Joe Milton had like one like rocket throw that he does where he just kind of stands in the pocket, not moving his feet, and just rips it deep down like the seam or something, and somebody's wide open or something. He had one of those, and everyone was like, "They did it again! 6th-round quarterback, they did it again! Here comes Joe Milton. Drake May traded. See ya, benched." They only let Drake May throw the ball 3 times. Obviously, Mayo was not using this game against the Panthers as the measuring stick for Drake May. It just leads me to believe that May is not going to start. I think Zappy could start. I think Brissett could start. I think the battle's between those 2. I do not think we see Drake May this season. If we do see him, it'll be late in games, I think. I do not think we'll see much of Drake May this season. I think he's just a little too raw. I don't think he's ready, and I think it's evident that the Patriots don't think he's ready, and that's not a bad thing. He shouldn't be ready. He's young, got to give him time. And then obviously there's Jaden Daniels, the Commanders. The rookie quarterback who had the most yards for the Commanders. Think about this. What rookie quarterback had the most yards for the Commanders this year, passing, in this game? If you guessed Sam Hartman, you are correct. He went 8 for 13 for 83 yards. Jaden Daniels also only threw the ball 3 times for 45 yards. He had a nice little deep shot. He ran the ball once for 3 yards and a touchdown. Again, we didn't see much of him. You can't really evaluate too much. But listen, I'm going to say this now because I would get killed on the podcast if I said this with all 3 of us here. I think he's going to be good. I think my opinion changed on him. I think I said on the show that I kind of tend to agree with Miller that he wouldn't be that good, but I think he's going to be okay. I really think he's going to be okay. So those are like the notable, like obviously rookie performances for quarterbacks. Clayton Tune kind of cooked for the Cardinals, even though he's not a rookie. I just kind of want to shout him out. No Marvin Harrison Jr. for the Cardinals. That was the only reason anybody would have watched that game. Stetson Bennett, second year. Yep. Stetson Bennett. He's just a winner. He's just a winner. He threw 4 picks. Guess what? Rams still won. Rams still won. Nobody else did that. Stetson Bennett did that with his 1 touchdown pass. To who? Who to who? Let's try and guess. Yeah, let's play a little bit of a game. Okay, leave it in the comments. Don't Google it. Who caught the receiving touchdown from Stetson Bennett? Miller Forrestall. That is your answer. Miller Forrestall caught the 1 touchdown pass from Stetson Bennett. But that is preseason week 1. Those are all of the rookie quarterback performances. Those are the notable ones, at least. Obviously, Sam Hartman. Shout out Sam Hartman. But I'm sure we'll do a more in-depth preseason week 1 and probably preseason week 2 breakdown. I'm assuming we'll see more of some of our less used rookie quarterbacks in week 2. Hopefully, we'll also see what Sam Darnold is in week 2 of the preseason. So I'm actually going to pump for that. But yeah, let's hop into right. This isn't just a sport podcast. This is a sports podcast. So we're going to talk baseball. So the first thing I want to do, talking about the MLB, is talk about the Toronto Blue Jays and the Vladimir Guerrero Jr. situation. I just want to shout out my boy, not because I'm a Blue Jays fan, but because I'm an MLB fan and I'm a Blue Jays fan, and he's my favorite player ever. And I will cry if he's not a Blue Jay next year. This man is on another planet right now. He is absolutely nuking the ball. Hey, listen, he was bad. He has been bad this season. Last season, there have been points where I've been like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. just might not be that good, right? But listen, he's always going to be one of the best hitters in the MLB this year, right? This year, he has 25 home runs. He's batting .323, a .950 OPS, a .950 OPS, right? In 2021. The other best season of his career, he was batting his OPS was 1.002, right? 1,002. 950. He is nearing 2021 levels, which remember, in 2021, what happened? He was the runner-up for the AL MVP. He's doing it again. Not that he is, I think it's a little bit too late for him to make a push for MVP, but this dude, he is smacking the ball. Absolutely smacking it. Right, he is smacking the ball. Again, 393 on base percentage, 950 OPS, 323 average, 25 home runs. Right? 25 home runs. He is slugging .557, which is again outside of 2021, the best that he's been slugging the ball, the best slugging percentage he has had. On base percentage is .393, second only to 2021 when he was almost the AL MVP. In my opinion, should have been over Shohei, right? He had that MVP. In my opinion, he was the better player, right? I'm not saying that he's going to make a push for the MVP at the current moment, but he's 25 years old. He is so young. If the Toronto Blue Jays do not extend Vladimir Guerrero Jr., I am going where he goes. I am done with Toronto. The Blue Jays, I will toss them to the side. Okay? This isn't like a Packers situation where I'm a diehard fan for life no matter what. Right? Like, no matter what. The Jays, if he leaves, wherever he goes, I'm a fan. If it's the Dodgers, I'm a fan of the Dodgers. If it's the Astros, I'm a fan of the Astros because they need a first baseman. Sure. I don't care. I really don't care. I will be a fan of whatever team Vladimir Guerrero, I'm pumped up. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. plays for. 25 years old, batting .323 with a .393 on base percentage and a .950 OPS. Give me a break, dude. He's so good. But the first thing, I guess the first official thing that I want to do with the MLB is look at all of the division leaders and actually talk about who the best team is, whether or not it's by record or by just who I think is better. So the division leaders right now in the AL, we'll do that. We'll decide which one of those is the best, and then I'll move on to the NL and we'll decide which one of the two teams that I picked are the best. So Yankees, Guardians, Astros. Much as I hate to say it, they are not by record. But in my opinion, the New York Yankees are the best team in the AL. They're the best of the division leaders, right? And they're the best team in the AL. You know, if you're a division leader, you're the best team in your division. If you're the best division leader, you're the best team in the AL, right? There are some really good teams in the AL. The Guardians, what a surprise, dude. I'm not saying that I thought they were going to be a bad team coming into this year, but they are a 72-win team right now. They are, by record, the best team in the AL, right? They're, by record, the best team in the league. They're the best team in the league by record. They have a 595 winning percentage. If there was a standings of the entire MLB, they would be at the top, right? But I think the Yankees are better. I think that they hit better. I think they can pitch better. The Guardians are good, but remember, they're an American League Central team, right? A lot of their games come against the Tigers and the White Sox and the Twins, who are actually not that bad. The Royals aren't that bad either. But the Twins, they take care of the Twins usually. They usually can take care of all four teams in their division. They're in a weak division, and that is what's going to cost them, I think, in the playoffs. Is they're not ready to see a team like the Astros or the Yankees or the Mariners even, or the Orioles, like I just don't think they are, right? So I think the Yankees are very clearly the best division leader in the AL, so we're going to put them forward from the AL. And then the National League, got the Phillies, the Brewers, the Dodgers. It's tough, but I think it's the Phillies. The Dodgers are so good, but listen, there's only 0.04 difference between their winning percentages, right? Like they're very, very close, those two. I think it's the Phillies by just a little bit. I think the Dodgers are probably going to win the World Series because it's Shohei in the playoffs and it's Mookie. We've never seen Shohei in the playoffs. So we don't even know what he's going to be like, but we assume that he's going to be a game wrecker like he is usually, right? So I think it's the Phillies and it's the Yankees. And then I think it's the Phillies. I think they're better than the Yankees. I think they're the best team in the MLB. But again, tough statement to make. We're nearing October. We're still a little bit far off, But I think that between the way that they've been batting, they've got good pitching. Zach Wheeler's an ace. The Yankees have both those things too, but I'm going to give it a slight edge to the Phillies. I just think they're just a little bit better of a team. But moral of the story, the Jays need to extend Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Can I say that enough? I don't think I can say that enough. Maybe I can, but I definitely can't say that enough. They need to extend Vladimir Guerrero Jr., right? Obviously, the worst team in the league is the White Sox, who just beat the Yankees by double digits, which is crazy. The only team this season to lose to the White Sox by double digits, obviously, because the White Sox have won, 20 games? 29. They're almost to 30 wins. Congratulations to the White Sox. They are almost to 30 wins. It's exciting. It really is. It's really, really very exciting. But the Jays suck. I mean, talking about the Jays as a whole, I guess we can kind of go into that conversation. Vladdy is great. Like I said, he's nuking the ball recently. He's slugging it as good as he has since 2021. He's hitting it as good as he has since 2021. But nobody else on the team is really doing that. Will Wagner just got called up. He's very good. I like Joey Loperfido. They just got him in the Yuzi Kikuchi trade. They just traded away Kikuchi, which again, one of our aces. But really, I mean, if they're going to enter into a true rebuild, he had to go. That's the most we were ever going to get for Kikuchi. We'd wait until next year. I do not think we would have gotten this kind of package for him. And Loperfido is good. He's a big Toronto guy, so I like him. Davis Schneider and Ernie Clement, they're whatever. Spencer Horwitz is good, and so I think the young guys are really have some potential. Obviously, Aaron Namala I probably butchered his name, but he is doing very, very well. Obviously, he's just in Dunedin. He's not really doing much at like a high level yet, but he is playing fantastic in the single A ball that he's playing. So I think the young guys are good. Bo is interesting. He is a guy that has been talked about not being on the Jays all year. Pretty much like trades didn't happen. I doubt he gets extended. I think that they definitely the reports are that Vladdy is staying. He wants to be there. He's going to be there. Bo, I don't think could care less if he's in Toronto or not. I really don't think he has any kind of connection or attachment to being on the team. Obviously, he loves the guys on the team and they love him, but I don't think that he would be like, I will never leave this city. Like Vladdy is like, I want to play in this place for the rest of my life. A genuine superstar, 25 years old, says, I want to be in this city for the rest of my life. If a team is that stupid to not sign that guy, well, I don't know what to tell you. I don't understand it, right? And I wouldn't understand it, right, if they didn't do it, which I think they will. But the Jays from here, I think it's developing the young guys. They've been calling them up. They've been getting them more playing time because obviously they know they're not really in the playoff race. They just want to get their young guys up and getting some major league experience. I think Schneider and Clement and Horwitz can all be good. I think Loperfido can be good. I think Wagner can be good. The pitching is whatever. The pitching is, yeah, it's been a struggle. Obviously, Kikuchi was very good. Then he kind of wasn't. We traded him. Gosman hasn't been the Gosman he was last year. Barrios hasn't been the guy that he was last year. He started out kind of good this year too. Bassett hasn't been the guy he was last year. The pitching hasn't been. Bassett was actually very good at the beginning of this year. He was actually getting sold so heavily by our offense. He was letting up like 1 or 2 runs a game, and we were still losing games, right? So he hasn't been that bad. I think Bassett probably might have the lowest ERA on the team. He's got a 4.30 right now. Gosman probably is the lowest still. He's at a 4.20, which is low, but not that low. Jose Barrios is a 3.86. Really not that bad. That's about league average, right? Bowden Francis has been starting recently. His ERA is a 4.92. Kikuchi right now, obviously he's not been on the Jays for a few weeks now, but Kikuchi right now is a 4.52. Like the rotation really hasn't been that good this year. And that's weird because they were supposed to be one of the best, but we also have the worst bullpen in the league. Zach Pop, dude. Oh my, I could go on a half an hour rant about Zach Pop, bro. He is so bad. He is such a bad. He's like a 6.25 ERA. We got one of the worst bullpens in the league. That's got to be addressed in the offseason. If the Jays do not address the bullpen in the offseason, cook it. It's over. We're done. Throw the season away because they're just going to keep blowing games that our starters like start out strong, right? Like even if Bassett or Gosman or Barrios or Francis, whoever's pitching for us now, even if they start out good, and they start throwing good pitches and they get through 6 or 7, our bullpen's going to come in and Zach Pop's just going to be like, you know what? I don't want to win today. I've decided we will lose this baseball game and I will be the direct cause of it. Right. And so that's kind of the way that he has been as of recently and pretty much all year this year. And so that is going to be a struggle, is getting the bullpen back together, but extend Vladimir Guerrero Jr., do that. Maybe even extend Bo. He has not been great this year either, but maybe even extend Bo. Just a couple of dark horse teams I think could make a deep playoff run or could end up doing like a Diamondbacks type run. I think the Royals, if they made the playoffs, could be really, really dangerous. Bobby Witt Jr. is an absolute maniac, dude. I don't even know if we've talked about him on the pod yet. This dude is absolutely crazy. The home and away splits are pretty significant, right? But just looking at his stats right now, what he's hitting right now on the year, he is hitting 349 with a 1,009 OPS. He's 397 on base percentage, almost 400 on base percentage. Only one less home run than Vladdy, 24 home runs, right? His splits, obviously, they're a little bit different. Home games this year, he is batting 403. Away game with a 456 on base percentage, a 728 slugging, and a 1,184 OPS. Right, and then away games he's batting 293, almost 300, which is still crazy. Nobody in MLB bats 300, and he's still almost doing it on the road, even though it's a much worse split than his home splits. 335 on base percentage, still fantastic. 494 slugging, a lot different there, but it doesn't matter. This dude is an absolute superstar. He's only 1 year younger than Vladdy. He's 24 years old. He is an absolute superstar. Best shortstop in the league, if not the best, one of the best. Bobby Witt Jr. is nuts. So that's why, right there, That is why I think the Royals could be the guy, could be the team that could make that kind of run, right? I think the Rangers don't know if they'll make the playoffs. Doesn't look like it's going to be great for them. They could do it. The Orioles, not that they're a dark horse team, but people are kind of underrating them because Gunnar Henderson is great and I love him, but everybody thinks Jackson Holiday sucks and Adley Rutschman. Nobody says a word about Adley Rutschman because we all know what Adley Rutschman is, right? He's batting this year. He's batting 269, pretty good. 17 homers, pretty good. Slugging it at what is he slugging it at? 428, which is good. 763 OPS, which is good, right? He is solid, and we all know that he's one of the best catchers in the league. But the Orioles could make a lot deeper run than they did last year. Obviously, last year was kind of a disappointment for them in the playoffs. In the National League, the Reds, Ellie De La Cruz is in MVP talks, right? And Ellie is one of the more debated, one of the more controversial stars in the league, right? He's batting 263, around where Adley is. He's got 21 home runs, which is a lot more than I thought he had, to be completely honest. And he's got an 839 OPS, which is very, very good, right? He is slugging it at 493. And on base percentage is 346. And once he gets to the bases, there is nobody like him, dude. Once he gets on the bases, there is nobody on the planet that is like Ellie De La Cruz, right? He is just an absolute, in a world of his own, a tier of his own when it comes to getting on the bases, stealing, base running, all that stuff. There's obviously the plays where the one play, I think maybe it was Oakland this year, where he stole second, third, and home all on the same run. Like he stole second, next pitch steals third, next pitch whatever steals home. He's unreal, dude, on the base path. Obviously, again, he's one of the more debated, one of the more narrative guys, but he's pushing his way into the MVP conversation, and I think that the Reds are kind of pushing their way into maybe being a sneaky playoff a contender. The Diamondbacks have been so good since the break. They are pushing the Dodgers for the division. The NL West is a dogfight. The Padres are 69-53, even without Juan Soto. The Dodgers are 71-50. The Diamondbacks are 69-53. The Padres are 69-53. The Giants are 61-62. And we don't talk about the Rockies, obviously, because they're the Rockies. But I think it's really hard to think that the Diamondbacks, they're so hot right now. They are on such a good streak. If they come into the playoffs like this, they could still be dangerous. They could still be that World Series team that we saw last year. I mean, again, they could still contend for this division with the Dodgers. It's going to be hard to keep pace with a Shohei and Mookie-led team. But the Diamondbacks are good, and they can make a run, I think. So those are some of the dark horse teams in the MLB. All right, I'm going to finish out the show by answering a few of those Twitter questions that we were talking about. We got 4 questions to answer today. Obviously, the poll wasn't up for too long, but I wanted to get this episode recorded. So I think just answering a few questions to tack off the show will be a great way to end our time together with just me this week. So we're going to start with Walter White Seal. Said, who was the biggest standout from each NFC North team? NFC North team's first preseason game. Great question. Love it. Let me bring back the preseason games so I can remember. But I believe the Packers, I'm going to go with Dontavion Wicks. I know that he was good. Wait, there's been 2 weeks of preseason? No. They're counting the Hall of Fame game as a week, which is stupid, but they did. So I thought I was off. But the Packers, it is. I have 2 answers. Okay. It is either it's either Emmanuel Wilson or Dontavion Wicks. Dontavion Wicks. Oh, Grant DeBose, too. Grant DeBose, that's the guy. Grant DeBose, 5 catches, 66 yards. This dude, a 7th-round pick out of Charlotte last year. And he comes in his first game as like a starter, obviously. He didn't start at all last season. Really didn't play at all last season. 5 catches, 66 yards, 13.2 average. Dontavion Wicks had 1 catch for 65 yards. I think he's awesome. Dude, I think he is so good. But I'm going to go with Grant Dubose. Emmanuel Wilson, shout out him, 5.2 yards a carry and a touchdown. Really, really, really looked good. And it kind of gave me a little bit of less stress about the running back room outside of Jacobs this year. I don't like Dylan that much. I've been very clear and on the record about not liking Dylan that much. But I do think yeah, that that Emmanuel Wilson kind of gave me a little bit more peace about that. The Vikings, it's tough. I gotta look again at their stats and make sure that I'm not talking with no basis. The Vikings. Jalen Naylor stands out. Tristan Jackson stands out. Tristan Jackson, 4 catches, 100 yards, 25 average with 1 touchdown. Jalen Naylor, 3 catches for 63 yards. Both of them were very good. Theo Jackson had 6 tackles. That's a pretty big standout performance for a guy like him. But I am going to go with Tristan Jackson over Jalen Naylor. I think those two guys both had good games. The Bears, Austin Booker, I talked about him at the top of the show. 2.5 sacks in his NFL debut. Fantastic job on defense. Ian Wheeler is a guy that we should shout out to. Ian Wheeler, obviously, running back for the Bears. I went to Howard University. I did not know that. To Howard University, he was good in this game too, but it's either Caleb Williams or Austin Booker. Just fantastic guys. Both guys who I liked, and obviously we knew what Caleb Williams was going to be, despite again the hate that he gets. But Austin Booker was a more underrated guy coming into this draft process in this season. I think people are finally going to see the light on this one. So I'm very happy about that. And so, yeah, Bears is Austin Booker. Then the Lions, as much as I hate to talk about the Lions because I hate them more than I hate. No, they're my second most hated team in the NFC North right now. I still hate the Bears more. But the Lions play the Giants, only scored 3 points. Womp womp. Not really many standouts here. Rutro. Yeah, the Lions really didn't do anything, did they? No, they didn't. I did not watch this game. I did not watch Sudfeld versus. I should have watched Locke. That's on me. But he went 4 for 10 for 17 yards and a touchdown and an interception. So maybe I shouldn't have. But I'm gonna go with Hendon Hooker. 5 for 9, 36 yards passing, and then 4 for 34 rushing. Good for him. Him and Zonovan Knight. 2 yards of carry for Zonovan Knight. Those are my standouts. I like Zonovan Knight. I don't know why. It's just a really, really, really cool name. This one is from Miller. Not show up to the show, but he'll show up to Twitter apparently. Who was Green Bay's wide receiver 1? He's got 2 parts to his question. Dobbs. Romeo Dobbs is the wide receiver 1 in Green Bay. I think it is either him or Reed or Wicks, right? And Wicks, I think, will end up being that. I think Wicks is like a mini Devontae Adams. Obviously, I don't think he'll be anywhere near as good as Devontae Adams was at his peak, but he's so reminiscent of him with his route running, with how quick his feet are, with just how solid his hands are. You just watch his tape, and he just resembles a young Devontae Adams. So I think Dontavian Wicks is going to be really, really good this year. But I think right now is Romeo. Romeo is awesome. Obviously, he maybe didn't have the season that we expected him to last year. Maybe I expected him to have a better season because I didn't expect Jaden Reed and Dontavian Wicks to be as good as they were. So I thought that Watson and Dobbs were going to be like the only 2 options, and Dobbs would just get a ton of volume and get a ton of yards. And that didn't happen. I think the Packers will operate pretty similarly to last year, where it's really nobody just standing out as one. One game it'll be one guy, one game it'll be the other, and none of them are really going to go for like 1,500 yards, but they're all going to have good seasons, right? So I think it's Dobbs. I think Romeo Dobbs is the wide receiver 1 in Green Bay right now, but I think that spot can be taken by either of Reed or Wicks. And how does the team address the fullback position with Henry Pearson's release? They re-signed Henry Pearson. I think Henry Pearson was decent. I watched him in the Chiefs game. He had a couple good blocks in that. They got to sign somebody. Miller knows, I know, you guys know. You need a fullback. You need a good fullback who can get out there and block for your running back, especially, Josh Jacobs and Emmanuel Wilson, 2 guys who can kind of Well, Emmanuel Wilson's more speedy, but obviously Josh Jacobs can run. You want to get them behind them, right? Behind those fullbacks. And so overall, you need somebody, right? That's the main point. You need somebody. Biggest surprise, this is from Nicole. Biggest surprise and biggest disappointment in college football this season. Biggest disappointment is going to be the Colorado Buffaloes. People are saying, oh, well, now that they've had a year of Dion, they still have Shadur and Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter is fantastic. I love Travis Hunter. I think Shadur is okay. I think Shadur is overhated. But Shadur, Travis Hunter, and their offensive line still isn't that good. I mean, I don't think the chemistry is going to be there. I think the locker room still might be a little bit toxic because people didn't really like their experience in Colorado last year. A lot of guys transferred out, and Dion was kind of just like, okay, walk. Who cares? They care. They won 4 games last year. I think they win the same amount or less this year. And I think 6 games is a disappointment this year, winning 6 games, honestly. I think that they are expected to do much, much more than that, and they're not going to do it, in my opinion. Surprise is interesting. I'm going to go with the Syracuse Orange with Kyle McCord at quarterback now. Syracuse Orange, Kyle McCord at quarterback. Listen, I've been playing with them in NCAA. I can see the vision, okay? I can see the vision. I genuinely can, right? I should probably look up their roster, not just just football. Kyle McCord. This dude. I live like an hour out of Syracuse, hour and a half, right? And dude, I gotta find it. I gotta make sure I know his name. Orlando Gadsden the second, dude. That dude is so legit. I've been playing with them in NCAA. First of all, took him to the national championship. I'm him. He was so good in the game, and I was like, I gotta watch his tape. I've been watching his tape. I love this dude so much. He's gonna be awesome. Yeah, I think Syracuse Orange are gonna be a surprising team this year. Not just because I'm a homer, but I kind of am. But Kyle McCord, I love it. I think he's awesome. He's gonna be fine. He's playing at Ohio State, going to the ACC, playing against Syracuse's opponents. He had to go up against Michigan last year. Like, come on, he will be fine for Syracuse. I think it's a great transfer addition for them. And then our final question is, where do you rank Sabrina Ionescu amongst players in the WNBA? She's averaging about 20 a year this year, which is, unreal. She's one of the best shooters in the league. So I think I would probably rank her pretty high. I'm not yeah. I don't want. Do I want to put out an official number? I'm gonna say she's top 10 in the league. Yeah, I'm gonna say top 10. I feel good about top 10. Yeah, I think she's top 10, maybe even top like 7-ish in the league. That's what I'm gonna put her, just as a general player. I'm not gonna do this by position. But I'm gonna refresh to make sure I don't miss any other questions while I was talking. I did not. Perfect. So without further ado, that is the Jake solo episode I Run the North. 48 minutes is a lot longer than I thought it would be. I've been talking for a long time, but this was a fun episode. So if you guys did enjoy it, please be sure to do everything you can to help grow the podcast. Go follow us on Twitter, follow us on TikTok. We're going to be posting some clips on there. And be sure to go subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're watching on YouTube right now, just click that subscribe button, click the notification bell so you don't miss any of our trivia videos or you don't miss any of our weekly podcast episodes on Fridays. And of course, leave us a rate and review on Spotify. Again, just help the podcast grow wherever we can. That would be greatly appreciated by us. We love you guys. Thank you guys for listening. We will see you guys next week.